Good morning, everyone. We will now I think there are no students that are coming, so we'll have to begin. I'm going to start na, and I will share first our presentation. So, today is our discussion for week 5's coverage. So, week 5 is all about object oriented programming, or what we call OOP in short. So, our discussion for this afternoon will include 4 topics, including Information Sheet 1, OOP, classes, and objects. So, when we say OOP, that is um, the shorthand for object-oriented programming. And when we say procedural programming, that is about writing procedures or methods that perform operations on the data, while object-oriented programming is about creating objects that contain both data and methods. So the programming technique that you were using in our previous weeks, that was called procedural programming. That was the program that you created was written in or written in a procedural approach. When we say procedural approach, that is from top to bottom approach. The running of the program or the execution of the program starts from the top up or down to the bottom part of your program. And we also created methods. So that as well is called procedural programming. But in object-oriented programming, we will be creating objects. And those objects will contain data and methods. Now, object-oriented programming has several advantages over procedural programming. OOP is faster and easier to execute. OOP provides a clear structure for the programs. OOP helps to keep the Java code dry or don't repeat yourself, and makes the code easier to maintain, modify, and debug. OOP makes it possible to create full reusable applications with less code and shorter development time. Don't repeat yourself or dry principle is about reducing the repetition of code. So that means with the help of OOP technique, we will be eliminating the repetition. Okay, repetition of codes or writing codes or you that means we repeatedly write the same codes in our program. You should create out or you should extract out the codes that are common for the application and place them at a single place and reuse them instead of repeating it. Now, what are classes and objects? Classes and objects are the two main aspects of object-oriented programming. So look at the following illustration to see the difference between class and objects. So here we have a class. Example is a fruit. Objects are apple, banana, and mango. As we can see, the class is more of the category, while the objects are the instances of the fruit. Okay? Or those are more specific fruits. Okay, so that those are our example of a class and objects. Another example, class is car. The objects are Volvo, Audi, or Toyota. Okay, so the objects are more specific cars, while the class car is a general term. Okay, So a class is a template for objects, and an object is an instance of a class. When we say instance, that pertains to a specific member of a class. When the individual objects are created, they inherit all the variables and methods from the class. Java classes or objects. Java is an object-oriented programming language. Everything in Java is associated with classes and objects, along with its attributes and methods. For example, in real life, a car is an object. The car has attributes such as weight and color, and methods such as drive and brake. So we're talking here about attributes and methods. So every objects, we can have attributes and methods for them. When we say attributes, those are the things that we can describe about the object. Examples here are the weight, the color, the name. Okay, for students, for example, the student object, you have attributes like your name, your address, your birthday, your email address, your parents' name, your father's name, your mother's name. Those are the attributes. Those are the details about a specific object. While the methods are the actions. Those are the actions that the object can perform. A class is like an object constructor or a blueprint for creating objects. So we will have to show you later how to create a class and object. To create a class, use the keyword class. Example here in our main.java, we created the main class. So here we have a class, main. The name of the class here is main, and then there's variable x inside the main class. So this is an example of a class. We create a class using the keyword class. Remember from the Java syntax that a class should always start with an uppercase first letter, and that the name of the Java file should match the class name. Here, all of your class name should have an should start with an uppercase letter. Create an object. In Java, an object is created from a class. We have already created a class named myClass, so now we can use this to create objects. To create an object of myClass, this is myClass. Specify the class name followed by the object name and use the keyword new. Example, create an object called myObject or myObj and print the value of x. Here we have the class main, then we have a variable x. Its value is 5. In the main method, we create here an object. Here now is our object. This is the class, and this is our object. So class is main, and our object here is myObj. This means that myObj is an object of the class main. Now, how do we create the object? We'll have to call the name of the class. So the name of the class here is main, and the name of the object is myObj, and then this is the syntax to create the object. You have equals and then new main. This is again the name of the class. This is the name of the class, main class. And then we'll print here next. Our line here is we have system.out.println myObject.x. So myObject Everything that is declared in the class will be inherited by the object. So here, since the main class is an x, the object, my object, will also have the value of x. Okay? Because the object again inherits what's inside the class. So inside the class main, we have the x. So my object will also inherit the value of x, or the variable x and its value. So here we print my object dot x. So the dot, we use the dot here to access everything from the class, okay, or the data of our class. Take note that the data of our class here is the x. So we access the data using the dot operator. My object dot x now will print the value of the x data, and that is equals to 5. So our output here is 5, coming from the data x. Okay, here, coming from this line. Now we can create multiple objects. In our previous example, we created only one object, the myObj. Now we can create a lot, many objects. So here we have another main class. And then the data inside the main class is again x equals to 5 with a semicolon. And then in the main method, here we created the first object, myObj1. Okay, and then the second object is myObj2. So this is equals to new main open. This is dili na siya Q ha. Main open and close parenthesis. Main open and close parenthesis. So this is the name of the class. Kani? This is the name of the class, and this one the name of the class and the name of the class. So again, this is the syntax in creating objects. You have to declare the name of the class, and then the name of your object equals new the name of the class. Open and close parenthesis. So we now have two objects. This is object 1 and this is object 2. Now we print here my object 1 dot x. Okay? And my object 2 dot x. So what is the output? What do you think is the output here?
5.
Okay, for the first one, you have my object 1 dot x is, ang output ani is 5. The second output statement again is also 5. Next, you have multiple classes. So previously we created multiple objects. So this one we can also create multiple classes. So you can also create an object of a class and access it in another class. This is often used for better organization of classes. One class has all the attributes and methods, while the other class holds the main method. This will be the code to be executed, where the main method is that has to be executed. And remember that the name of the Java file should match the class name. And in this example, we have created two files in the same directory folder. Here we created the main class, and we end the main class here. The main class has x equals to 5 data. And we have another file. So, duha ni siya ka file, main.java and second.java. Here in the second.java, the name of the class is second. This is the second class. Then, in the second class, there is the main method. Take note, in our main class, there is no main method. Okay, only the data x is declared here, and we end the class here. In the second file, we have this class, and in this second file, we have here the main declaration. Here we declare our my object equals new main, and we print my object.x. So this one, x will have to get from the main class or from your file called main.java, where your main class is declared. So the output of this one will be again the same. It will be the value of x, which is equals to 5. Next, we have the class attributes. Okay, so the attributes of the class. In the previous discussion, we used the term variable for x. In the example as shown below, it is actually an attribute of the class. Or you could say that the class attributes are variables within a class. So our variables that declared inside the class are called attributes. So this is now how we declare attributes. They are just basically variables inside the class. Okay, so they are declared here inside the class. These are our attributes. And sometimes we call this the fields. So in other programming terms, we call attributes the fields. Accessing attributes, you can access attributes by creating an object of the class and by using the dot syntax. The following example will create an object of the main class with the name myObject or myObj, and we use the x attribute on the object to print its value. So here we create an object called myObj and print the value of x. So the attribute here again is we have the variable x. So this is our attribute. This is the attribute of the main class. So we have attribute x equals to 5. And then in our main method, we have again here myObject.x. So this is how we access the attribute x. Using, again, we use the dot operator. So here, the output is, again, equals to 5. So we can also modify attributes or change the values of our attributes. So here we have the value, or we have an example. We have a class main, and then we have the attribute x without any value. Okay, so in the main method, we have here the object myObj equals new main, and we declare here the value myObj.x equals 40. So this now will assign a value to the attribute x, and that is 40, equals to 40. When we access x now, we print here the myObject.x. This will give us an output of 40. Because the value of myObject x okay, or the attribute x will have the value 40, okay, assigned from this declaration. So this is how we change the values of our attributes. Now we also have another example. Here we have the value of our attribute x equals to 10. In the main method, we have myObject equals to new main. Then we assign myObject dot x equals 25. So now we are changing the value of x. From 10, it will become 25. Then we print myObject.x, and that is 25. If you don't want the ability to override existing values, declare the attribute as final. So if you do not allow changes to your attributes, we'll have to specify the final keyword in the declaration of our attributes. Final int x equals to 10. Here, in our example main method, we create our object and then we assign the value of x to be equals to 25. This will actually generate an error because x is not allowed to be modified since it's declared as final. So you cannot assign a value to x. This will give us an error. And yeah, this will give us error. So the final keyword is useful when you want a variable to always store the same value. Like for example, constant values like the pi. The pi's value in math is 3.14 or 3.14159. So it should not be changed. The value of pi is constant and it should be final. Now we have another example of multiple objects. So if you create multiple objects of one class, you can change the attribute values in one object without affecting the attribute values in the other. For example, we change the value of x to 25 in myObject2 and leave x in myObject1 unchanged. So this is how we do that. We have the attribute x equals to 5. Okay, and then we have myObject1 and myObject2. Now we give the value of myObject2 with x, its attribute will have the value of 25. Now if we print myObject1.x, that will be equals to the original value, which is 5, because we only assigned 25 to the x of myObject2. Okay, it's only specific to 2. So the 25 is only assigned to the x of object 2. However, myObject1 will have the same value of x, which is 5. So myObject1.x is 5 and myObject2.x is 25. Because of this statement, we only change the x value of myObject2, specifically only to myObject2. So myObject1 will retain its value. Multiple attributes. Here we specify multiple variables inside the main class. So here we have the main class, and now we have one attribute fname equals to John, and last name or lname equals to Doe, and int age equals 24. So we now have 1, 2, 3 attributes. In the main method, we create the myObj, and then we print the name string plus myObj.fname. This will give us the value of fname, which is John. So this is John, and it will again print the space and then my obj, that last name. So the last name is Doe. So the final output of this is name John Doe, and the age is the age, which is 24. Age is 24. The final output here will be name John Doe, age 24. Next topic in week 5 is class methods. Java class methods. So you learned about methods in our previous week, in the previous week, and that methods are declared within a class and that they are used to perform certain actions. Example, we create a method named myMethod in main class. So here we have the main class and then we have the myMethod. So in myMethod, we print hello world. So the myMethod prints the text, or this is the action. The declaration or the code inside the method is what we call the action. The action of the method when it is called. To call a method, we write the method's name followed by 2 parentheses and a semicolon. So example. So basically, this is just the same in our previous discussion about methods. So we have here the main class and the main method. So this is open and close parentheses. So this is our method, my method, and it basically prints the word hello world. And in the main method, we simply call my method. So we call the my method and the my method will be executed. So the output here is basically hello world. Okay, this is the output, hello world. The static versus non-static, you will often see Java programs that have either static or public attributes and methods. In the example above, we created a static method, which means that it can be accessed without creating an object of the class, unlike public, which can only be accessed by objects. Example here, we illustrate the difference between static and public methods. So the main class here has the static void myStatic method, and it prints static methods can be called without creating objects. Here we have a public method. Take note here the public and the static. So when it's public, that is non-static. So the name of the method of our non-static method is myPublic method. The public method must be, this will be the output if the public method is called. Public methods must be called by creating objects. So again, the difference of the two, static and public, is that the static has to be called, or the static methods, when it's called, it does not require creating objects. While the public method, you need to create object first before calling it. So here we have the main class, the main method here, and then we call myStatic method. So we call the myStatic method directly. Now, if we want to call the public method, you have to create the object first. So my object equals new main, and then my object myPublic method. So since the public method is declared as public, you have to include, you have to again create the object first. here. While calling the static method, you don't need the object. Okay? And in the public method, you also have to specify the name of your object. So this is how you call the public method, and this is how you call a static method. So when it's static, you don't need to create objects. Otherwise, if you're using public method, you'll have to create objects before you can use the method. Accessing methods with an object, you'll have to, here we have an example. We create a class object named mycar, and we call the full, frothy, and speed. This is L. Full, frothy, and speed methods on the mycar object and run the program. So here we have the main class, and we create the public method, full throttle. This is throttle, L. And then here, this method will print the car is going as fast as it can. Next, we have public, again, a public method, public void, speed, int max speed. Here, there is a parameter. So here we print max speed is, then it will print the value whatever is assigned to max speed. So in the main class, we have my car and new main. Then my car, that full throttle. So here we call the full throttle method. So it will print the statement inside the full throttle, which is the car is going as fast as it can. And then we have my car that speed 200. So this will call the speed method and assign the value 200. So the second method again is speed, and the max speed is 200. So it will print max speed is 200. So remember that the dot is used to access the object's attributes and methods. And to call a method in Java, write the method name followed by a set of parentheses, followed by a semicolon. A class must have a matching file name. Main, for example, if the name of your class is main, so it should be saved as main.java. Now we have multiple classes. It is good practice to create an object of a class and access it in another class. So remember that the name of the Java file should match the class name. And in this example, we have created two files in the same directory, the main.java and the second.java. So here we created two files, the main.java. It has the public method full throttle and speed. Next, we have the second Java has its main method. The class second in the second.java file has the main method. So this main method creates the object mycar equals to new main, and then it will call the method full throttle and the speed with 200 as the max speed. So when you run this in CMD, because there are many ways where we can write our program, and if you're writing in the CMD window in your computer, and you'll have to type these codes when you compile. But if we're using just the online compiler, so no need for us to write this one. So basically, the output is this. The car is going as fast as it can, and the max speed is 200. Next, we have constructors. This is the last topic of our week 5, constructors. So constructors is a special method. So they are actually methods that is used to initialize. Their purpose is to initialize objects. Initialize objects. When we create objects, usually they don't have value. But if you want to give them initial value, while the main method is creating objects, we can do that using constructors. Okay, we assign or we give initial default values. The constructor is called when an object of a class is created. It can be used to set initial values for object attributes. So here, initial values. Example of a constructor is here. We have the X attribute of our main class. Then here is the constructor. This is now a constructor which gives us the initial value. So here, to create the constructor, you just have to write public and then the name of the class. So this is the name of your class. See, they should be the same. Okay? It should be the same with the name of the class. Main is the name of your class, so your constructor should also be main. If this is, for example, if the class is car, so your constructor should also have car. Now, we will assign now a value to the attribute. So, since the attribute is only one, and that is X, so, siya lang ang ato ang tagaan og value. In the constructor, we assign initial values to our attributes. So, we only have one attribute X, so we give initial value to X. X equals 5. Now, in the main method, when we create the object, my object equals to new main, and we print my object.x, it will give us the initial value, which is 5. Okay, so that is how we assign initial values to our attributes using constructor. So before, in our previous example, we give here directly the value of the value of our attribute without using the constructor. So in our previous slide, we use, for example, here, int x equals to 5. There is an initial value of x here. Okay? So, but in this example, we create a constructor. So we do this because sometimes objects do not want to use or they want to have their own values for their attributes, and sometimes if there are no values assigned in the main method, if there are no values assigned to the attributes, then we will give initial values. That is why we create constructors to assign initial values to those objects that do not assign specific values to their attributes. So here we have this constructor. Note that the constructor name must match the class name and it cannot have a return type. Okay, so wala siya return type. And also note that the constructor is called when the object is created. All classes have constructors by default. If you do not create a class constructor yourself, Java creates one for you. However, then you are not able to set initial values for object attributes. So constructor parameters. So we can also assign parameters to our constructors, which is used to initialize attributes. The following example adds an int y parameter to the constructor. Inside the constructor, we set x to y, and then when we call the constructor, we pass the parameter to the constructor 5, which will set the value of x to 5. This is the example. We have the attribute x, and then the constructor is public main, and then it now has a parameter y. That means any value that is passed to y will be the value assigned to x. Okay, so what is the value of y? That will be the value of your x attribute, your x. So here in your main method, we have the my object, and then here we now have a value inside the parenthesis. This is now the value that will be passed to the constructor, and that will specifically go to the parameter y. So y now will be passed to x, and x will now have the value equals to 5. So here we print the value is 5. So this is how we passed a value to the constructor na siya'y value inside the parenthesis here. In the previous slide, our object creation here don't have a value. So that means the constructor also don't have a parameter. So this one shows you an example of a constructor that accepts a parameter. That means the parameter will be assigned to the value of your attribute, or your attribute will the value of your attribute will depend on the value passed in your object creation. You can have as many parameters as you want. Example, you have the main method here, the main class, and you'll have the model year attribute and the model name attribute. So there are two attributes in this example. And then in the constructor, there are two parameters, int year and string name. So they should be separated with a comma. Now we have assigned here the model year equals to the year from this parameter, and then the model name will be equals to the name, which is from the parameter. Of course, this should be coming from the main method. In the main method, we have the my car equals to new main. Duha ang ihang gipasa. 1969 and Mustang. So 1969 will be the value of the year, and Mustang will be the value of the name. So here the model year which is 1969 will be the value of your attribute, and then the model name will be coming from the name, which is Mustang. So model year is 1969 and model name will have Mustang. So in the output here we'll have my car dot model year. This is 1969. And then the my car model name is Mustang. The output is 1969 Mustang. So that's it for our discussion. Do you have questions? Okay, so if you have no further questions, we'll proceed to our demonstration for demonstration of our examples. I don't know if we can. Here we have the JDoodle basic compiler, and since we're gonna use multiple files for our classes, so we will be needing this one, Advanced Java IDE. So we could see here the file name of our class. So this is our main or our class, my class. So this is my class.java. This is its file name. We can see here the the files of our scripts. So we will be creating here. Let's create this one. Oh, no, no, no. Patay na yan po kung ano yun. Hmm. So, let's say this is our main class or yeah, main class. So this should have a file name of um, main here, main.java. Okay, so you can rename this as main just right click here or click and then rename. So this is, no, this should be main.java. Okay. In my example, I will show you two classes that will be calling each other. The one class will have um, the basic or the main class, and it will hold its attributes and some of this of its methods and constructors, while the other class will have the the main method. So here, let's create this one as the rectangle class. So this will have our example. This will be the rectangle class. So let's rename this one. This will be rectangle class. Rectangle.java. And then in the rectangle.java, the first thing that when you write your own classes na, first thing you should do is write the attributes. So what are the attributes of the class? If it's not given in the problem, then you'll have to think what are the attributes. But if it's specified in the problem what are the attributes, then those will be the attributes that you need to use or to specify in your class. So assuming that we'll have the rectangle has the attribute width and height. So they don't have the initial value. Now, the next thing after writing the attribute is the constructor. The next thing that you'll write is the constructor. So we can write the constructor as rectangle. So if you don't write a public here, so this is automatic a public method or a non-static method. So this is now our constructor, and let me first share my screen. So here this is now the constructor, and sa constructor you'll have to assign values to your attributes. So our attributes here are width and height. So you need to specify values for your width. So assuming the initial value of width is 2 and the initial value of height is 1. Next to the constructor are your methods. So what are the actions that can be performed on the rectangle class? So that can be, we can find the area of the rectangle. We can also find the perimeter of the rectangle. So we can create a method that will give us the area and the perimeter. So let's create that method. So we'll have int find area. So there is no static declaration here, so this means that this is a public, automatic, this is public, a public method. So int find area, this is our first method. So in the find area method, we will return the formula for finding the area is width times height. Then we also have the method to compute for the perimeter. So we can give the perimeter using the formula width plus height plus height, or 2 times width, no, plus 2 times height. So these are now our attributes, constructor, and then methods. That's how you basically create a class. You start with the constructor, the attributes, and then constructor, and then the methods. Here we have 2 methods. Now, if in the problem, the method that you need to write are already specified, then you only have to write the codes to perform the functions of the method. So this is basically it. And then our main method will be on the next file. So we'll try to, this is my first time to use this compiler. So let's create a new file. So this one, this will be our second class. Okay, let's name this the create rectangle class. So now we have this create rectangle.java file, and we will now create here our class or our main method. So this is create rectangle. Then inside this will be our main method, public static void main. Here we create our first object. So you have to specify the name of the class is rectangle. The name of the object is, let's say, rect1 equals to new rectangle. Then we'll have we will assign the area, okay, of the rectangle to a variable area. Then we will call the method from rect1. So to call the method, you'll have to specify the name of the object here, rect1 dot, and then the method is find area. So this is the method that we created in our rectangle class a while ago. We created 2 methods in the rectangle class. Those are the find area and the find parameter. So we call the find area here, and then we assign it to area variable. Then we also have to get the perimeter. So we will store it in the perimeter variable. So we'll have rect1 that find perimeter. So this is our first method, find area, assigned to area. And then we also have the find perimeter method assigned to the perimeter. The result of the calculation will be assigned to these variables. Then we print now the output. The width of the rect1 rectangle is then we will print the width rect1 that width. This will be the value assigned to the attribute width. Then it will also print the height, and the height is plus the rect1 that height, and we also print now the area of the rect1 rectangle is, then we print the area. Next, we will print the perimeter, system out println, the perimeter of the rect1 rectangle is plus the value of the perimeter variable. So that's it. And then we'll execute this. It should, yeah, it should execute. So it cannot run. Maybe there's a problem with the file. We will make this create rectangle. Ano naman niya siya? This one. File name. Let's check first the file names. So this one is Java. So here there's already a the problem is in the main method. So public static void main method. Okay, let's have to set the create rectangle.java as the start file. Okay. So our start file should be create rectangle because naadari ang ato ang main method. Our main method is here, and so that's it. Now we create the rect1 rectangle, and this is our object rect1. Its area is from the default, which is the assigned width is 2 and the height is 1, so the area is 2 times 1, that is 2, and the perimeter is 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1, so that is 2, 4, 5, 6. The perimeter is 6 and the area is 2. So we now have the area is 2 and the perimeter is 6. Let's create another, can create another object here. Say rectangle rectangle rect2 equals new rectangle. So its value is, again, because we use here the default constructor, no parameters to the constructor. So the values of, if you use this, the values of the width is the same, and the height is also the same. So the width is 2, the initial value is 2, and the initial value of width is 1. So if you want to change those values, then you can just have call the width rect2 dot width equals 3, and then rect2 dot length equals, say, 5, and then we can compute now the area. So don't use anymore the integer because it's already declared. So area is equals to rect2 dot find area, and then area perimeter equals rect2 dot find perimeter. So we print now the rect2. The second object is rect2. So we print the width. Let's print the width first. The width of the rect2 rectangle is, then we print the rect2 dot width, and the height is, then we print the rect2 dot height. Then we print the area, system.print the area of the rect2 rectangle is, then we print the area. Then next will be the perimeter. Okay, so we print the details of the rect1, its width, height, area, and perimeter, and then we assign values to the rect2. Then we compute for the area and the width of rect2, and then we print all the details of rect2. So you should see in the output here's error, find the area, rect2 that length, cannot find the symbol, height, the ID in length, height, and then rect2 that find area equals rect2 that find area. Kulangan ang spelling. So first we have the width of rect1 is 2 and 1, the area is 2, and the perimeter is 6. For the rect2, the width is 3 and the height is 5, and the area is 15 and the perimeter is 16. Okay, so we have 3 and 5, area is 15 and the perimeter is 16. Now let's try another one. Let's add a constructor here with parameter. Kani siya, there is no parameter. So we will add a new parameter here so that when a new object is created and you can just cannot print this one, can't use this one. We want to assign the values directly to the new rectangle. Okay, so we can see the difference if we'll use default values. Let's say this is width. We assign a width, and then we also assign a height. Then the width will be coming from the width, and the height will be coming from the height. So this width here, say for example, the width passed here is 1, that will be here. Okay, that will be the value of the attribute width here. So you see they are basically the same, but for you to see their difference, so we can rename this as W, and this is height, or this height is H, and this one will be the W, and this is H. Okay, so that you won't get you know confused of the same names that we used here. So here, this is coming from the perimeter or the parameter. Okay, this come from the parameter, and these are our attributes, the attributes that we declared here. Okay, so whatever is assigned or passed in the parameters, that will be the values of our attribute. So let's create here a new rectangle. So if there is a constructor that is created like this with parameters, it would be easy to assign the new values of the new object. So let's create that one. Say rect2 equals new rectangle. And you will not anymore be using this type of assignment because you can directly assign the values here if you have a constructor with parameters. So you can assign simply here, let's say 5 and 2. Ana lang siya, simple lang. Dili na ingon ani ang imuhang isulat. So mas dali siya kung naakay parameter or constructor nga ingon ani nga naa na siya parameter. Ana siya. Para pag tawagon siya sa main method, ingon ani na lang pod ang iyahang assignment. Dili na ka mag-assign isa-isa sa imuhang attributes. What if ang attributes niya kay 10 ka buok? So 10 pud ka buok na imuhang i-type dira 10 ka lines, 'di ba? So mas dali nga ingon ani naa kay constructor nga naay mag-accept og parameter or values directly. So next to that is we can compute for the area diretso. Can create a rect. This is rect 3, by the way. This is rect 3. Rect 3 dot find area. And perimeter equals rect 3 dot find perimeter. And then we print the rect 3, the details of rect 3. Just copy and paste this one. The width of rect 3 Rectangle is rect 3. That width and the height is rect 3. That height. And the area of rect 3 is area, and the perimeter of rect 3 is perimeter. Let's separate our... Okay na na siya. So now we have the width, the area, and the perimeter, the attributes, the area and the perimeter of the first rectangle, and this is the second rectangle, and then the third rectangle. See now the third rectangle has a width of 5 and a height of 2, and the area is 10 and the perimeter is 14. Okay, so here is an example. I want to show you sharing with J tutorial. So here we use sometimes here in programming we use this called UML class diagram. This one kining naka rectangle. Okay, this is called a UML class UML diagram or UML class diagram. So here, this is how we um, design first. Parang we for planning the object or class, you'll have to use this one to illustrate the different um, attributes and methods of a class. So for example, this one, this is rectangle, so that means we will be creating a rectangle class. And there is after the name of the class are the attributes. Here we have the length and the width, and also specified are the data types of the the length. So here, if there are problems in your task that shows an UML diagram, it will also show the data type that you will use. So here, if it is shown that the length attribute is double, so that means you need to declare your length attribute as double. Okay, and then your width will also be double. Okay, and then here next to the attributes are the methods and or the constructors and then the methods. So here you have the rectangle open and close. So this means that you'll write the constructor. And then here the constructor with two parameters, double length and double width. Then next is you have a method set. This will assign value to your double, width, and length, or length and double, length and width. And they are void methods. Next is you'll also have to write the definition of the method get area in double. So this basically is just the UML class, but I think there is no there is one problem in your tasks that shows a UML, but there's also a description of the problem. So I'm just showing you here. You might encounter some programming problems that will only show you the UML diagram without text description of the problem. Do you have question? Further question? So I think that's it for my presentation this morning. I will entertain some of your questions. Okay, I will have another example. Okay, let's have a 15-minute break. If you have questions, you can write in our chat box. Okay, 15-minute break before I present another example.
Don't just get a CRM. Get Monday.com's flexible CRM solution that can also manage your sales pipeline. Contact.
Tapos makuha ang tatlong gamit, agad kumatok si Miss Manananggal sa confession room.
Miss Manananggal. Alam mo ba na ang manananggal ay kailangan ay makabalik siya sa kalahati ng kanyang katawan habang madilim pa para manumbalik ang dating anyo. Kaya naman, siguraduhin mo na bago magbukang liwayway ay dapat mahanap mo ang kalahati ng iyong katawan. Sa susunod, na madidinig mo ang tunog na ganito. Oras na para hanapin ang kalahati ng iyong katawan.
Maya-maya pa pinatawag ni Kuya si Gian sa confession room.
Naglipa na ang mga engkanto sa panahon ngayon. Pati mga aswang. Pinasok na nga ng isang manananggal ang bahay ko.
Opo, kuya.
Buti nakawala ka.
Opo, kuya. Pinawala niya po ako, kuya.
Iisip ko ang kapakanan ninyo, lahat kayo dyan. Sa'yo ay inaatang ko ang mabigat na responsibilidad para manatiling ligtas ang mga kasamahan mo.
Opo, kuya.
Sige,
Paglabas ni Gian sa confession room, pinagmadali niya ang housemates na magtago muna sa kani-kanyang kwarto.
Housemates! Pasok kayo sa kwarto, dali nyo! Kasi wala sa kwarto. Guys, boys, bedroom mo sa kwarto kasi ikaw din manananggal. Ang aswang na paparate.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Wait.
Housemates, in fairness takot na takot kayo pero sinabi nilang manananggal. Sure kayo dyan?
Hoy, totoo to! Kasi mag-isip pa sa mga engkanto ka nananggal. Tama!
Housemates, yung totoo, kanina ba kayo natatakot? Pinakaliwasan.
Ilang sandali pa narinig ng housemates ang hudyat ng manananggal.
Ay, there! Scary, oh my God. Ay, Diyos ko, titimaan.
Ang housemates nag-iisip ng paraan paano matutulungang makabalik sa dating anyo ang Miss Manananggal na si Quincy.
Mamamatay siya, huwag asin.
Yeah, not the same. Ikutan na lang natin.
Asin, para mawala yung masamang no, what? She's gonna die without.
Ay, naku.
First of all, let's ipon muna tayo and think about the ideas mo.
So we're back. So I'm gonna share another example. We will be writing a new class this time. So I'm creating a new file here. This will be a new class. So let's name this circle. Okay. Circle. Circle.java. Okay, and then this one, declaration of the circle class. In this example, we will be using a private variable. So in all of your tasks, you need to define your attributes as private. So this is a much safer and secured attribute declaration, a much secured program if your attributes are declared as private. So again, all of your tasks in your module must be using a private attribute. So here I'm demonstrating how you would change your attributes that are declared in private. So here we have a constructor for our circle class, and here we have the radius is equals to 1.0. This will be the initial value of your circle class. And then you'll have another constructor that will assign a value to your radius. Let's say this is new radius. And the new value of radius will be equals to new radius. Next, we'll have a get method. So I read your task, and then there are instructions there that you need to create a get method and a set method. So this will be your example how you would write get methods and set methods. So get methods are basically what we write to return the value of our attributes. So get radius will just return the value of the radius. So we'll just have to return radius here. And then our set method is the set will assign a new value, okay, a new value to radius. So we will have to be needing a new value for the radius. So here we will set a new value of the radius, which is equals to let's say if the value we will have an if here, if the value of the new radius is greater than or equal to 0, then we will assign the new radius. Otherwise, the value of new radius is 0. Next, our method is to compute for the area. Okay, so we will return the radius times 3.14159 for the pi. Okay, again we have the radius attribute in our circle class, and then we have a constructor that will assign initial value of radius to be equals to 1.0, and another constructor which will assign a new value to the radius. Then we'll have a get radius method and a set radius method. The get radius will just return the radius, and the set radius will assign a new value to radius. If the new radius passed here is greater than or equal to 0, then the value of radius will be the new radius. If this new radius is less than 0, then the value of new radius is 0. So next, the method is find area. So it will just return radius times 3.14159. Next, in our main method, we will create an object, circle my circle equals a new circle. Then we will assign the radius to be equals to 5.0. By the way, if you have let's say if you have 2 attributes in a class, then you can also have 2 get methods and 2 set methods. So here, since we only have 1 attribute, so we only have 1 get method and 1 set method. So going back to our main method, we have here object my circle. Then we assign a radius to be equals to 5.0. Then we will print the area. We print first the radius. So to print the radius, we just call the get method. Get radius. And then we we print the area using the find area method. Next, we will assign or we will create a new circle. Without value. Then we will be using here the set radius to assign a value of radius to the circle. So that will be my circle, or this is my circle 2. So my circle 2 dot set radius is my circle 2 dot set radius, or set radius. So here we set a new radius to my circle 2, so we can assign directly here, assuming the radius is 10.0. Then we print the area and, or the radius and the area. So the area of the circle of radius, so we print the radius of my circle 2, and then we print the area of my circle 2. So let's run this again. We have a new error in circle class. In the circle class, in line 18, return this one, in line 18, radius is equals to new radius. This would be okay. So in your set radius, it should be, or in your set methods, it should be a void method. So the area of our first circle with radius 5.0 is 78.53975, and the second circle has a radius of 10.0 and its area is 314.159. Okay, so that's our last example. You have questions? I am now entertaining questions. I will be reading your comments, or I will read our chat box for your questions.
Babalik na! Babalik na! Babalik na! Babalik na! Anong tao ka na, Quincy? Kaya buma-buma, lik-lik! Bumalik-lik-lik! Buma-buma, lik-lik! Bumalik, buma-buma, lik-lik! Bumalik, buma-buma, bumalik! Bumalik ka na, Quincy! Bumalik na! Bumalik na! Bumalik na! Bumalik na! Bumalik na! Bumalik na!
Lindsay, maaari ka ng mag-transform.
Bumalik, lik, bumalik, lik.
Okay, housemates, good job tayo. Effective, very good.
Hello Philippines and hello world! Thank you for watching Pinoy Big Brother. Stay connected and don't forget to subscribe to Pinoy.
If you work in a
Also, wala na may mga question, guys. So, I think wala na may mga question. We will end na our meeting. So, I hope you learned something about creating classes, attributes, constructors, and methods in this discussion. So, next meeting, we will have a demonstration of creating or building user interfaces in your programs. So, if you have questions, you can just PM me and you can ask for assistance in answering your tasks. So, I hope everyone already got their copies of the module. So again, I will be open for your messages anytime, though sometimes I can't be able to respond, but as soon as possible I will be responding to your messages. Okay, so this will be the end of our meeting for today. Okay, so see you again next week. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone. You can leave na the meeting.
Bye-bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Eh.
team, you should be using Monday.com. It's a platform to manage any team and any workflow. Marketing, sales pipelines, construction, creative productions, you name it. Pick a template or start afresh.
Ang natanggap ng housemates.
May parating na sulat para sa isang babae at isang lalaki na magaling mag-host. Ay? Babae at isang lalaki.
May paparating.
What about route?
Ralph, hindi makapigil magsalita eh.
Who are like willing?
Ako na lang.
Ella, Quincy, Alyssa, you want?
Ako, I actually don't mind. I don't mind.
Ella, Quincy, Gail, or Alyssa?
Gail. Gail. I wanna see her kasi diba, she never...
Gail.
I wanna see...
Gail, ikaw daw!
Bahala na.
No na? No.
Ano kaya?
Kaya mo sumalugil ah.
Go get him!
Ikaw daw.
Ayun na yan!
Say natin.
Talima ng isip at dila dahil kayo ang dalawang napili na pinakamagaling mag-host, maghanda at pumunta sa confession room.
Good luck, Bruce!
Oh my God.
Laban mo.
Thank you.
Magandang araw sa inyo.
Magandang araw po, kuya.
Oh, bakit kayo nandito?
Kami kuya yung napili po ng housemate kuya para sumalo po ng sulat.
Ano bang nakasaad sa sulat?
Ito po. Pinakamagaling pong mag-host.
Ralph,
Po.
meron ka bang karanasan tungkol sa pag-host?
Wala po. Online po, kaya ko naman po yung makipag-usap po sa mga tao po.
Be yourself lang talaga.
Ikaw naman, Gail.
I'm excited kasi I do have some outside experience po, Kuya.
Gail at Ralph,
Yes po, Kuya.
dahil kayo ang napili bilang magagaling na host dito sa loob ng aking bahay, bibigyan ko kayo ngayon ng isang task. Ang task na ito ay magaganap sa loob ng Kumu Room. At doon kayo mamamalagi. Meron kayong makikitang screen. At kung ano man ang makikita ninyo mamaya na naka-flash doon, kailangan ay i-annotate ninyo o sasabihin ninyo kung ano yung nakikita ninyo.
Okay po.
Paglabas ng confession room, agad nang naghanda ang dalawa.
Okay! Hello, everyone! Wala, I'm just practicing. Oh my God! Kala ko yan na.
Ay!
Right here, Amanda. Amanda.
Robby Domingo!
Ang sama.
Ang liit ko.
Hello, Philippines, and hello, world. Thank you for watching Pinoy Big Brother.
Need a professional website? I created one for our startup using Wix. Let me show you how I did it. First, go to wix.com.
Matapos maghanda, nagpunta na ang dalawa sa Kumu Room.
Wow!
Oh my gosh!
Gail, guide me, please.
Hello, hello.
Diyan ka, okay.
Ayan, parang mas ano ka dun.
Ay, sorry.
Ayan.
Wow!
Maya-maya pa, naghudyat na si Kuya para sa pagsisimula ng kanilang show.
Go!
Hello, world, and hello, Philippines!
Yung pangalan ko is Gail Benawis at kasama ko ngayon ay si...
Ako naman si Ralph Malibunas and sana masayang-masaya kayo na nakikinig sa amin ngayon.
Yes, and welcome to...
PBB Point 9! And ayun guys, sana masayang-masaya ang araw nyo ngayon and sana lagi kayong ligtas and sana alagaan nyo ang mga sarili nyo dahil...
You know,
Sila,
may pandemic kayo, di ba?
Tama.
Oh my God, guys, you have to sanitize.
Yeah. Siyempre dapat drink your vitamins para sure na safe lagi and mas malakas ang
Wow, paano si
Ano,
Robby?
Moses? Oh, si Ralph, ang galing pala niya. I didn't know.
And siyempre laging magsuot ng mask, okay?
At lumabas sa kanilang screen ang mga kaganapan sa loob ng bahay.
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
At American accountant ng Australia.
Wow! Super stunning talaga ng girl na yan, no? Talaga from Australia.
Ay, naniwala!
Talagang seryoso siyang naglalagay ng asukal yata yan, no? Kaya talagang enjoy ang mga housemates ni Kuya ngayon sa paggawa ng ice cream! And syempre, nakikita naman natin ngayon si Andrea, ang sugar sweetheart ng Paranaque.
Ganda niya. Para siyang si Liza Soberano, no?
Super cute, no? Parang parang bubbly lang talaga. And syempre, nakikita din natin yung pinaka-cute dyan. And syempre, talaga...
Sino kaya yan?
Talagang, anong Gian ba pangalan? Ayan, isa sa mga kwelang fan girl ng bahay. Talagang fan na fan talaga ng Katniel yan. Syempre,
Ang housemates gumawa pa ng eksena para sa dalawa.
kaya ngayon sa mga nanonood dyan, talagang nakikita naman natin ngayon na sobrang enjoy ang mga housemate. Talagang sobrang enjoy lang talaga sila sa bahay ni Kuya Gil.
Ano ba ginagawa ni Gian ngayon? Ay, wow, nag-music sila ngayon!
Music sila yan. Sobrang enjoy lang ngayon ng mga housemate. Makikita nyo talagang si Gian hindi talaga nagpapahuli. Ayan, ang mga housemates ni Kuya talagang nagpa-party and sobrang nagsasaya ngayon. Gian, sige, ayan. Syempre, ang pinaka-paborito ng housemates, ang bread roll ni Kuya at saka ang fried rice with scramble. Yan.
Scrambled
Yung
eggs.
sarap yan, Gabe. At saka, syempre,
Sino yan? Leo Fair!
Siyempre, ang pare ko ng bahay, ang boy discarte talaga.
Ay, sino to? Si Dimples.
Si Dimple talaga.
I wonder if nagtuloy na si Dimples.
Actually, may kamukha siyang artista eh. May
Papa P ba?
Papa P. Yun, tamang-tama talaga si Chico. Siyempre, si Chico talaga ang mahilig mag-workout sa bahay ni Kuya. Siyempre, every morning, ayan talagang routine ni Chico dito sa bahay ni Kuya.
Ilang sandali pa, kailangan ng tapusin ni Gail at Ralph ang kanilang show.
Hello sa mga nanonood at nakikinig. Salamat! Salamat talaga for listening and for watching.
Sana talaga nag-enjoy po kayo.
Yes! And this is going to be the end of PBB
PBB.
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 PBB. Points. 9.
Matapos ang kanilang show, bumalik na ang dalawa sa mga kasama.
Grabe! You guys are so good.
Great job!
You guys are so good.
In sync talaga kayo.
Thank you.
That was so in sync. That was really good.
Thank you.
Great job.
Galing, galing.
Pwede na magbihis.
Yeah, first of all, Sir Gil, you were amazing. No joke.
There was chemistry. The chemistry was great.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you, Gail. Sobrang enjoy ako sa task na.
Hello, Philippines, and hello, world. Thank you for watching Pinoy Big Brother. Stay connected and don't forget to subscribe to Pinoy Big Brother YouTube channel para maging updated sa latest happenings sa loob at labas ng bahay ni Kuya. And don't forget to like, comment, and share this video.
Here's how you get started using Circle CI and Bitbucket. First, click the Sign Up button in the top right corner of the screen. Then, hit Authorize Bitbucket.
Matapos ang ilang oras, pinatawag muli ang mga hosts na sina Gail at Ralph.
Dito ako masusubok, ha?
Oh my.
This is your show, Gail and Ralph.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Take it away.
Good afternoon! Welcome to the newest quiz show ni Kuya, ang Cheese Quiz.
Para sa Cheese Quiz Show, may mababasa ang mga host na sina Ralph at Gail tungkol sa mga nasabi ng isang housemate sa kapwa nila housemate sa loob ng bahay ni Kuya. Huhulaan ng mga host kung sino ang tinutukoy at nakapagsabi ng quote na mababanggit. Lahat ng pag-uusapan nila ay maririnig na ibang housemates na nasa loob ng bahay.
Magbabasa kami ng mga real-life quotes and hot tea from the housemates na talagang sinabi nila habang nasa loob sila ng bahay ni Kuya.
Pero ang catch ay hindi namin alam kung sino ang nagsabi nito.
Nagsabi ng?
Oh my God. OMG.
Kasi nakikita ko ngayon yung mga pictures natin eh, no? Pati ng mga housemates.
Ano kaya yung mga cheese?
Curious ka na ba kung anong gagawin
Super
natin?
curious na ako.
Sobrang curious na ako, Gail.
Oh my God! Alyssa!
Asan si Alyssa? Kinakabahan ako sa girls.
Excited ako kung ano pa talagang mga quotes yung mga makikita natin.
Ano yung sinasabi natin?
Ano kayo yung mga chismis hindi ko alam?
Just kidding.
Ayun, pero sa mga nakakonect mo, siguro baka may mga alam ka ng mga chismis.
Baka may clues naman.
Ilalagay namin ang picture ng housemate
Sa blank.
Kung pwedeng iba-iba o umuulit ang housemate na tinutukoy, ano kaya yung mga quote-quote na yan? Talagang na-excite
Na-intriga na ako. Ano kaya yan? At ito pa, itong cheese quiz na ito ay parte ng weekly task. At kailangan natin
masagutan ang 9 out of 12 na tamang sagot.
Naku!
Kung hindi natin magawa ito, may isang violation na magaganap para sa weekly task pa.
Galingan talaga natin, Gail, dahil sa weekly task nga ito. Pero kakayanin natin, no?
Kakayanin natin to.
Kakayanin natin yan, Gail.
Yes, of course.
So ngayon, ay talagang bubuksan natin ang box, Gail.
Shananan! Let's play Cheese Quiz!
Our first goal.
Go na, Ralph. Go.
Okay. Naiirita na ako kasi palagi niya ina-announce maliit ba yan or malaki. Palagi niya na ina-announce parang ye.
Yeah, we get it. You did it. Okay?
Oh my gosh! I know who this is!
So, Gail, may idea ka na ba kung sino bang nagsabi ng quote?
Sino sinasabihan ng gano'n? Wala. Hindi, sino yung sinasabihan ng maliit na malaki?
May nasisense ako, parang kilala ko to eh.
Ako rin.
No?
Especially sa last part. No?
Last part pa lang, Gail. Talagang parang nasisense mo na kung sino yan eh.
Parang may attitude na
Diba?
konti.
Parang
Grabe itong intriga to. Ayoko na. Parang gusto ko na lang matulog.
Ina-announce? Sino yun?
parang galing Australia.
Baka
Do you think,
nga.
no?
Parang accountant
Diba,
ata.
accountant siya. Ano? Ang sagot namin dyan ay si...
Alyssa!
Oh my God.
Ilalagay namin ang picture ni Alisa sa...
Sinabi ni Alisa.
Tungkol.
Kanino ba?
Ay, kilala ko.
Sino?
Feeling ko na sa raketera siya, parang ganun.
Pero, why?
Kasi dito talaga sa bahay ni Kuya, minsan may mga hindi pagkakaintindihan,
Grabe.
misunderstanding, and... Pero, eto ayun lang yung guess ko, baka si Ella yun, baka Rock Quintera, sa tingin mo ba? Siguro sa mga maliliit na bagay lang, siguro katulad ng mga HOH, yung mga ganyang bagay talaga sa mga task, kung ano yung mga pinagdadaanan sa task. Ano sa tingin mo?
Ako kasi feeling ko isang footballer.
I think that we get it part was when we were playing the fun fact game. Because remember I said we get it, we get it. Ano fun fact game?
Oh my God, ang hirap pala nito ng cheese quiz. Dapat mas
Hirap,
cheese...
medyo challenging siya,
Dapat naging mas
kapamilya,
chismosa
pero
pala ako dito sa bahay.
ayun nga talagang hindi ko din talaga alam, pero kailangan namin subukan. So, ito ang larawan ni Ella.
Ilalagay.
Lalagay na namin kay Ella.
Sana tama yan.
Oh my God, I hope they win this.
It's just for our weekly task, guys. Like, alam mo naman natin, sometimes we don't mean things or whatever, but kung ano mo makikinig natin.
Okay, magbabasa na tayo ng ng quote 2. Okay. May kaugalian siyang di matuto, di marunong sumunod. Halimbawa, dito sa kusina, gusto niya magluto. Tinuturuan ko siya kung paano gawin yung tamang proseso, pero di niya na-apply ito ng maayos.
Kumbaga, yung mga tinuturo ko sa kanya ay parang useless lang.
Medyo challenging.
Sino nagsalita?
This is walang person.
Medyo challenging na nga siya, Gail.
Sino nang
May
tuturo?
kaugalian siyang di matuto.
Wala pa ako sinasabi dyan.
Nininervyos na si Quincy.
Oh my God. Ganda! It's okay.
Sino nagsalita nun?
Walang personalan.
Kasi si Ella, she's a very strong-minded person. Tapos yung words niya din.
Uy, hindi ako nagsasalita ng ganun mga be. It's okay, even if you said it.
Doesn't
Hindi
matter.
talaga, hindi ako yan.
Nobody's perfect person everywhere, Father.
Yeah, and like,
We've all said shit about each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
We've all said
Doesn't
it.
matter.
I said it.
Diretso talaga yung sinasabi niya. So, kasi hindi ko ma-imagine si Leo Fer nag-uusap
Ayan
ng
nga
ganito.
hindi ko talaga, ako rin, siyempre, wala talaga, hindi ko talaga naririnig si Liver na ganyan magsalita. Pero,
Tapos parang,
tingin mo sino kaya?
si Gian cannot be Gian.
Ayun nga eh.
Si Kyron cannot be Kyron.
Hindi eh.
Amanda, I don't think so. Gail, Leo Fer,
It's okay. Pinakamalala na.
kukunin ko si Ella lang ha, kasi alam ko
Okay.
straight shooter siya.
Okay, cool lang.
But, hindi ako sure kung tungkol sa kanino.
Walang personalan.
Walang
Factual
personalan
lang
po
talaga.
ito. Talagang base lang po talaga sa aming mga nasa sense. Kung sino po talaga. Let's put her
Mahirap
on
eh.
tungkol kay Gian.
Ay, ang hirap. Hirap naman.
Hello, Philippines, and hello, world! Thank you for watching Pinoy Big Brother. Stay connected and don't forget to subscribe to Pinoy Big Brother YouTube channel para maging updated sa latest happenings sa loob at labas ng bahay ni Kuya. And don't forget to like, comment, and share this video.
You've got the idea. GoDaddy has the domain to make it happen.